Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and this is the start of another weekly reading vlog. It is Tuesday, June 8th. We're in the middle of Whatever You Want-a-thon, so all of the books that I will be reading in this vlog are going to be counted towards my total book count for that readathon. I'm on the green team, and that's Team Dreams and Drama Queens, and I have pledged to read 15 books. I've only read 2 so far, but you know, I think that this is going to be a better reading week. Last week, I did read one of my new favorite books, but I also had a lot of DNFs, so very interesting reading week. I do have a weekly reading vlog. If you haven't already seen it, go check that out. But this week I'm gonna try and buckle down, finish up some more books because I am in the middle of some books, and get some more prompts down because I got 15 prompts for Whatever You Want-a-thon. Read 2 books already, so that means 13 more books is what I'm trying to hit for the month of June. I did get my book of the month box for the month of June yesterday, so I got 2 brand new books, which is really exciting. The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I will be saving this one for September for a reading vlog, a dedicated reading vlog having to do with a certain genre. So keep a lookout for this in September. But the other book, One Last Stop, I am going to be picking this up this week. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this one. People are loving this one. I haven't read anything from this author yet. Contemporary romance, not usually my thing. This has a science fiction or fantasy sort of time loop element to this one, so I decided to pick it up. Perfect pride read. So I will be reading this week. In terms of the Whatever You Want-a-thon, this could work for a couple of them. The cover reminds me of a pride flag. I mean, this just, I feel like more the lesbian flag, but it also like has some bi vibes too. It's just very sapphic. You look at this book and you're like, yeah, that's a sapphic book. So we could do that. While not like a perfect color match, I feel like this would work for that one. And then also, this could also be like an out of your comfort zone read for me as well, because again, don't normally read contemporary romance, but I'm hoping that like there's enough speculative elements in here for me to like it. Very excited to read this one this week, as well as a book that I am in the middle of right now. That is going to be A Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley, and I'm 38% of the way through this one. This is a YA story about 2 kind of rival witches. It's like an enemies to lovers situation, and they have to team up to save their land, even though neither of them wants to. It's very sapphic. I am enjoying this. I will say this reads like very young YA, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I would say this would be good for middle grade readers too. I feel like it's very accessible for someone maybe reading middle grade and trying to move up into the YA genre. I'm only 38% of the way through this one. And while I do know that there is like romance in here, it's enemies to lovers, there's a big emphasis on like familial love too, and the reasons why each of these witches are working with each other. So it does deal with like family love as well, and it's not like explicit at all. There's no cursing or more adult content, so I feel like this is like a very sweet YA. I know sometimes YA, you read it and you're like, okay, these characters just feel like they're aged up in YA bodies, but this definitely feels like it could be middle grade people who are trying to move up into YA, or just like a younger YA in general. So that's like my one note on this one so far, is it is a little bit younger than I was expecting. Just in terms of tone, I wasn't expecting it to read as young as it's reading. And I also probably would recommend it physically rather than the audiobook. But for that one also, I mean, the cover kind of reminds me a little bit of a pride flag. We've got purples in there, we've got blues, and it looks sapphic, which it is, very sapphic. This could also be, I believe it's the author's debut. I did haul it in the last year. It is out of my comfort zone also because it is like very young YA. So those are the 2 books that I am planning on primarily reading throughout this week. Also working on The Stand by Stephen King. That's been like a month-long project at this point. Apologies for the lighting if it's like a little glaring. It is very dark outside. I intended to start this vlog a whole whole lot sooner, but I was pre-filming some videos because I am going on vacation at the end of this month, so I wanted to still have some content out. So I filmed like 3 or 4 videos today, and by the time I did that, ate lunch, and then sat down to film this update. It has been storming all day, so it's only 2:42, but it looks like it's like 6 p.m. outside. So I am using my ring light. Not a lot planned for today. I do have to do some laundry, which is very good for audiobooks. And then I've got to edit some videos, work out, and then I think that's all I have to do. I'm also helping my family plan our vacation. It's like a road trip scenario sort of situation. So I'm helping find things along the way and places we're gonna stay at and such. So I do have to do that as well, which is a lot of fun, but definitely something that you want to be prepared for is a road trip. So I have all of that on the docket today. Very excited, very optimistic about my reads. It's gonna be a really good week of reading. Just wanted to hop on and introduce the vlog really fast before I got on with my day. That is going to be it for this clip, and I will talk to you all later. Good morning vlog, coming on with some quick reading updates. It is Thursday morning and I know I haven't updated since Tuesday. I haven't really talked on the vlog at all, but I have been reading, so I do have some reading updates. I did finish Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley. I enjoyed this one. I just definitely don't think that I was the target audience for this. It's a standalone fantasy. I did enjoy the world and the characters. I thought it was a well-written story. It did overall just read a little bit too young for me, as well as how some of the plot was kind of constructed. I felt like in terms of foreshadowing and such, I could kind of see the twists in this story, but I don't think I was the target audience, so that didn't bother me too much. For example, I do have a sister who is in 7th grade. I think she would absolutely love this, so I think it's definitely geared more towards, like, I would say 6th, 7th, or 8th graders. I feel like would be like a really good target audience for this. It is YA, not middle grade, but it definitely just reads a little bit young to me, which obviously they're younger characters, so that's fine, but I definitely think it's a YA where the characters read almost a little younger than they're supposed to read, rather than reading older, which I know a lot of times in YA, sometimes our characters do read older than they actually are. This one feels like very true to the age of the characters. So I did enjoy it. It's not going to be a new favorite or anything, but again, I just don't think I was the target audience. I did enjoy this though. It was very sweet. So if you are looking for like a witchy book, kind of enemies to lovers sort of vibe that also focuses not just on like a romantic relationship, but familial relationships and friendships as well, that would be a really good book. Now moving on to my other book, One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I am on page 115 and I'm really enjoying this so far. I know initially I expressed some reservations about picking this one up just because I'm not normally a contemporary romance sort of person. However, this does have a very interesting sort of paranormal aspect to it that we don't really know at this point in the book what is going on with that, but our main character August moves to New York City to get a new fresh start. She finds some roommates via an ad and really hits like the Craigslist roommate lottery jackpot. She makes friends and connections very quickly in the city. She's trying to adjust to her new life as a New Yorker, and as she's taking the train, she meets a girl that could be the girl of her dreams. However, she starts noticing that she's only meeting this girl on this train, and there might be something a little bit different about her, and she might not actually be a train passenger from this era at all. That's kind of the basic premise. We've already had August kind of discover that Jane, her subway cutie, is not necessarily of this decade or maybe of like this mortal realm. One of her roommates is like a psychic and super into ghosts. And what I love about this one is that her friends are like very supportive of her being like, I think this person is a time traveler or a ghost, and they're trying to investigate with her instead of just saying no. So they immediately dive into like seances or research to try and figure out what Jane's deal is. So I am really enjoying that. It's a lot more ghosty and spooky than I thought it would be, which I am really enjoying. I really enjoy all the unexpected spooky stuff that is happening. And then I also just really enjoy August and her roommates. They're like a really fun group of characters. I'm really enjoying getting to know the characters. Their dynamics are very fresh, and I'm really enjoying sort of the flirtationship between Jane and August, as well as I just really identify to August in a lot of ways as a character. So I am enjoying that as well. So this is just over 400 pages, so I'm a fourth of the way through this one. I will definitely be picking this book up today as well. Honestly, pretty much I read the first 100 pages, I would say, in one sitting. I read the first 20 pages on Tuesday, and then I read the rest of it pretty much last night. So I am really enjoying this. I'm invested. I did stop because I felt like I was getting to a point where I had to go to bed rather than keep pushing through and reading this. So I am really glad that I did take a chance on this one, and I am kind of going out of my comfort zone again. I think my favorite part about this so far though is like the mystery, the sort of paranormal time loop almost mystery that is kind of at the forefront of Jane's character. And the romance is nice too, or like what little flirtationship that we've had so far, but definitely I don't think I would be liking it if it weren't for that aspect of it. So I am really enjoying that aspect, and I'm really curious to see how it plays out throughout the rest of the story. Definitely, I feel like it's kind of been sort of a subtypical week for me in terms of books and like normal genres. I have enjoyed both the books that I have read or I'm currently reading this week so far. They are a little bit out of my normal comfort zone in terms of genres, so I am debating maybe picking up more of like an epic fantasy later on this week, depending on how far I get in One Last Stop. I'm thinking maybe Jade City or Upon a Burning Throne. Those are some library books that I need to get to sooner rather than later. Or if I don't pick up a fantasy, I might pick up a horror, or at least like a very dark fantasy, because I know this is completely not the tone of One Last Stop at all, but all of Nico and his sort of like paranormal adventures, like he's a psychic, he reads people's palms, he works at like a psychic medium place where they also host seances. all of that is really making me crave like a good paranormal sort of spooky book as well. So I might pick up a horror, I don't know, we'll see. I am in a reading mood, I just don't know what to pick up next, which I know I'm saying like, what do I pick up next, as if I'm not in the middle of a book, but I do like having several different books in rotation at the same time. It's just the kind of reader I am. I know people are different about that, but I'm definitely a person who likes having multiple books at once as opposed to just one book. My life would probably be like a little bit easier if I just started one book, finished it, moved on to the next, but I just really enjoy having like a sampler platter almost of just like a bunch of different genres at the same time, so I can read very dependent on my mood. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I should hopefully this weekend be re-dyeing my hair. I ordered all my supplies for it at the beginning of this week. I'm just going to be taking the orange out and just doing a full head of pink. I have had this split dye since maybe like late March, early April. I like mixing it up every couple of months, so yes, I know this has been looking very faded and a little bit pink in like the last few vlogs and the last few updates, and I just pre-filmed a bunch of videos with this hair situation going on, so there will still be videos with the split dye throughout the month of July. But I enjoyed the orange. I'm just moving on to pink. I think pink's probably like my favorite color that I do. I don't know. I've liked them all. I've liked them all, honestly. So that's my weekend plan, depending on when that comes in. And that's, of course, you know, a process. My partner also helps me bleach and dye it. It's kind of like a team effort. He definitely puts in a lot of the work though, because it's hard to see like the back of your head and make sure that you get everything done right. But we're very much like a home hair operation. He cuts his own hair. He helps me cut my hair. He's actually very good at hair things. I will refresh my color on my own, but he definitely helps me color it and also bleach it. So we'll probably be doing that this weekend. Fingers crossed that the package comes. I also want to have like a fresh head of dye before I go on vacation. Anyone else like this? I like having fresh, bright color with little to no roots when I'm like going to like special events or things like vacation. So I am looking forward to that. Changing things up is always fun. Last week I was really getting the craving to switch my hair up, so I did cut it. I was trying to figure out if I just wanted a cut or if I wanted a cut in color. I cut it and I was like, I like the split dye. I actually like it a lot more now that my hair is a little bit shorter, but I want to go all pink, so I'm excited. But that is going to be it for this update. I will maybe try an update later on today with another reading update, just because this vlog has been very like minimal with the reading updates so far. But regardless, I will talk to you all later with another update. Happy Friday. I hope you guys like enjoyed that little time lapse of kind of rain and a thunderstorm, heavily inspired by Olivia Reads a Latte. She's done that in a couple of her reading vlogs, and yesterday it was storming, and I'm still not used to like the southern summer storms. I don't actually know if that's a thing. I think it's a thing, but moving from Indiana to here in Arkansas, it's definitely been like a very summery thing, and it has been storming so much. I cannot remember a time in my life where there have been this many big thunderstorms back to back. I actually quite enjoy it because I used to sleep with like a thunderstorm ambiance on every single night, and I really have not had to do that for the past couple of weeks. I mean, sometimes I have, but it has been very, very stormy recently, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, Olivia is one of like my favorite vlog creators on this app. She's one of my favorite booktubers in general, but she's been including that sort of vlog footage in her vlogs. So yesterday, when we're having that absolutely glorious storm, I had to film some. It was perfect reading weather. And I did get more into One Last Stop by McQuiston. I'm now on page 187. So I'm very, very close to the halfway mark. I'm still really enjoying this one. I have a feeling it's probably going to end more bittersweet than happily ever after. I don't know, we'll see. So I did want to do an update about the Whatever You Want-a-thon readathon, just because I don't think I mentioned when I talked about some books that I finished, like what prompts they were for. So there are 15 prompts, and I do have a nice bullet journal spread right here to keep me on track. So far, I accomplished last week the cover with your team's color, and that was Thunder Rising by Erin Hunter. It's that book right there. And then I read for indie or self-published A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. And then for Sweet and Bitter Magic, which I did finish this week, I'm using that as an author's debut. Again, most of my books could actually fit for multiple prompts, but I am trying not to double up and see how that works, where that takes me. And then for One Last Stop, I am using Fits a TBR game prompt because Becca from Becca and the Books, she does her Bookopoly, and one of her Bookopoly prompts for the month was read a romance, so this definitely counts as that. So that will be what I'm using for that, and once I finish this book, I will have checked off 4 out of the 15 prompts, so doing good for that readathon. As you can see, I'm quite proud of this spread. I am not like the biggest artist when it comes to this medium, but I do enjoy having a bullet journal. Mine's just very simplistic, but it does really work for me. My camera battery is actually about to die, so I'm gonna be done with this update for right now. I'm gonna charge my camera, and then I will jump back on and talk to you some more about some reading updates. So we've got my book, One Last Stop. I am currently on page 231, and wow. If you've read it, you know what scene I just read. And yeah, 0 to 100. Love the banter with August and her roommates though. And then of course, for any reading experience, we've got an energy drink because why not? Got a reading snack. Hot tamales. This is my dad's favorite candy, and I was feeling a little homesick, so got a huge bag of them, and they are a really good reading snack. And then I have a jealous dog who cannot have hot tamales. Who simply cannot. But he's a good boy though. Are you? Are you a good boy? Yeah. So that's our afternoon. Just chilling, reading a book, having a good Friday, huh? friends, happy Saturday. So I did finish One Last Stop yesterday. I think when I started that day, when I was on my last update, I'm pretty sure I updated yesterday, I was on page maybe 100 and something, and this book has 400 pages, so that's just a testament to I did really enjoy this one. I read something like 300 pages yesterday, so I thought it was sweet. Still definitely like a little bit out of my comfort zone just in terms of genre, but I did enjoy like the fantasy sort of element in here. I hesitate on like playing that up too much because I don't want people thinking that this is anything but a contemporary book. It is about a girl who moves to New York City looking for a fresh start. She meets another woman on the train. She thinks that this mysterious train girl is like her perfect match. However, she quickly discovers there's something a little bit different about Jane, the girl on the train. She is actually from the 70s and is somehow caught in a time loop on the train. So there is like that very mild sort of supernatural element where you're trying to figure out the mystery of how that happens. But other than that, it is definitely very much contemporary fiction, and it doesn't have like a lot of magical elements, but enough magical elements to keep like a fantasy reader like me happy. I thought this was sweet. I know I mentioned that I was very worried that it wouldn't end well just based on some of the premises, but slight spoiler warning if you think that like the tone of an ending, I'm not going to talk about the ending, just the tone of the ending. So if you think that's a spoiler, just skip to when I'm no longer holding this book. But I thought the ending of this book was really sweet and it actually really worked. I was worried that it wasn't going to work and it wasn't going to kind of wrap up sort of happily ever after, or as happily ever after as a story like this can be, but I was really pleased with the ending and I thought it ended very optimistically and cute, and I did really enjoy this one. So in terms of other books, because I did finish both the audiobook and the physical book that I was talking about in the beginning of this vlog, I did set a poll on my Instagram. By the time that you see this video, it will have passed, but check the description bar down below if you want to follow me on Instagram. It's pretty much the same handle as my handle on YouTube. But for the whatever-a-thon readathon, there is a prompt that says have a poll pick. So I chose 2 books to have people vote on. I'm gonna let this go through the maximum amount of time and start whichever one of these that the poll chooses at the end of the day on Sunday. So I will figure out what read that I'm going to start next week with. The choices are Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is, I believe, more of like an urban fantasy, but it has to do with like Jade having magical powers, and then the people in this world, there's like a lot of like martial arts sort of fighting, and it is set in a fantasy world, but it's set in more of an urban setting. So that's this one. I've heard wonderful things about this one, and the 3rd book is coming out soon, so I would maybe like to try and start the series and maybe catch up before that 3rd book comes out. And then the second option for the poll is Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker, and this one is start of an epic fantasy. I believe this is also a trilogy. I could be wrong. I've also heard great things about this one. So this is following a world where demigods and demons walk among mortals. The emperor of the vast burnt empire has died, leaving a turbulent realm without an emperor. So that's the setup to this one. It's definitely giving me more of like epic fantasy vibes. So I honestly, either of these poll picks, I will be happy to read. I want to prioritize both of them, honestly, maybe in the month of June, but we'll just see on what the poll says on which one that I'm going to be starting first. However, I do want to physically read a little bit before the results of that poll comes out. So I am picking up yet another library book. I'm trying to kind of get my way through them. I'm very excited that I have access to physical libraries again, but I'm trying not to like go overboard and keep renewing the same books over and over again. Just trying to get better at when I check out physical books from the library, reading them in a good amount of time. So I'm going to be picking up A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I'm gonna start this today, and I don't think I'll finish it or even get close to finishing it by the time that I find out the pull pick. So I'll probably have the pull pick as the book for when I finish this one, whenever that might be. Just based on what I have heard about this book, this is a paranormal sort of fantasy romance with a witch and a vampire, and it also kind of gives me like National Treasure or Da Vinci Code sort of vibes in terms of, I feel like this has to do with mysteries and artifacts and like historical sort of mysteries that are being solved by people in the present, but it also has a lot of romance and sort of paranormal sort of aspects. So what I get from those vibes is kind of like a Dan Brown meets Anne Rice sort of situation with like a lot more romance. So I'm intrigued about this one. I will be picking it up after I finish this vlog clip. I'm excited. I'm gonna be honest, this is not a book that I really anticipated ever reading, and then for whatever reason, I don't think this is a recent book, but for whatever reason I've noticed it's been doing the rounds on BookTube lately. I had never heard of the series, but a lot of people who have very different reading tastes have all really enjoyed this one. So when I saw it at the library, I figure why not give it a try. I think this one is like deceptively large too. I didn't realize how big it was when I picked it up, but it is almost 600 pages and the font is very, very small. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm gonna dive into this one, see how far I can get into it. Maybe I'll finish it by the end of the vlog, maybe not, because it is very chunky, but I feel like a lot of people fly through this one, so I'm excited to see if I enjoy it as well. That's pretty much all of like my concrete reading goals at the moment. Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte and Gabby from Gabby Reads just announced Summerween Part 2, which is taking place in July. That's really exciting. Love that readathon. I really enjoy both of their channels. And now that I have the Summerween prompts, I'm very tempted to already start to kind of put together a tentative sort of TBR, but I'm trying to not get too ahead of myself. I do have a month-long readathon to get through before that one, because again, it doesn't start until July, but the spooky part of me is very, very excited to start getting into spooky season. Me and my partner have an arrangement where August is where I really get to go full force, full on spooky season with all of the decorations, all of the fall scented like wall plugins and candles and all of that. August is really when I get to go like full force into that. Not that he'd stifle me if I wanted to do it like year round, and we do have quite a bit of like spooky decorations year round, especially in my library and in like our gaming room in terms of decor. But Summerween, definitely an excuse to bust out some fall candles. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. It was almost 100 degrees today. And it's really cold inside our apartment, which is why I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but outside it is almost 100 degrees. So I'm looking forward to Summerween and like kind of putting myself in a headspace of just nice, cool fall perfection. That is all I have for this reading update. I am going to go start on a discovery of witches, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Happy Monday, everyone. It is now the end of this vlog. Time to wrap things up. I did not end up updating at all on Sunday. I just had the worst cramps, so didn't really do anything yesterday. But I did want to come on and conclusively wrap up the vlog. So here with one final update for this week. So like I mentioned, I think on Saturday, which was like the last talking update in this vlog, I did want to start A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, and I did end up starting this one. I am on page 116 and I am really liking this so far. What I am really enjoying from like the first chapter, you get some world building and you really get to know like what kinds of supernatural creatures you're going to be involved with in this story. It is set in like our world, but there are witches, there are vampires, there are demons that live alongside humans. And I like from the very beginning, you just know that there is a world where all these things happen. Our main character Diana is from a very long line of witches. So what's nice about that in terms of world building is that our main character isn't new to the world. So you aren't like left in the dark at the beginning. You're automatically going in with the knowledge that she has. And it's especially nice like when we meet the vampire, which I'm going to assume is the love interest. She already knows he's a vampire. So there's none of that kind of waffling that tends to happen in some like contemporary vampire books where our main character is, he might be a vampire, but vampires don't exist. And that goes on for sometimes a little bit too long, because you pick up a book about vampires, you know that vampires are going to be a part of it, and you're just waiting for your main character to accept that alongside of yourself, which sometimes can take a very, very long time, especially in a longer series. However, this one, I just really like that you get down to business immediately. There are some like mysteries and things like that where you're slowly uncovering world building a little bit at a time, but you know that this is a world with like vampires and demons and witches alongside of humans, which is really nice. I know going into this book, I am already picking it up expecting those things, so it's definitely nice that since I already have suspended my disbelief and I'm reading about those creatures, I don't have to then rediscover that they're real, I guess, in the context of this book. I like that a lot. And then another thing I wanted to quickly note is that Deborah Harkness is a professor of history and has received a lot of like fellowships and has like published scholarly work, which you can tell in here. There is a ton of history in here, and I am really enjoying those aspects because it is set in present day to when it came out. I think it was published in about 2011, so it is starting to get a little bit dated, but it's still, all intents and purposes, pretty present time, contemporary in terms of time period, but there's just a lot of historical context that I am really enjoying, and you can tell that the author has some background in a lot of this, even coming down to our main character Diana. She is a professor at a college and she's doing a lot of scholarly research, and just all of those aspects are very interesting, and you can tell, like, except for like the witch part and the vampire part and all of that, the research aspects and the aspects of Diana's job like feel very much real to what it would be like in reality, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. I am taking my time with it. I am noticing that my average reading speed for this is a little bit slower than I am used to, because I would say this is a very dense book. There's a lot of history in it, and there is like a lot of lore and world building, especially in the first couple of chapters where you're getting introduced to everything. Also, the writing is very tiny and there is a lot on each page, so I am reading it a little bit slower than my average, but I'm really liking this. So I'm very excited to be continuing on with this book for next week. And then the book that ended up winning my poll pick was Jade City by Fonda Lee, and this was actually not as much of like a contest as I was maybe anticipating. I had a feeling this one was going to win because I feel like it has more name recognition, but I think this won like 75% of the vote, so I will be picking this up next week as well, as soon as I finish A Discovery of Witches. So these are going to be the two biggest books on my TBR in terms of next week. There probably won't be a vlog for next week. I had to do some reorganizing with my personal schedule in terms of work and personal life, so I don't think there's actually going to be a weekly reading vlog for next week, but I will try and have one up the week after. So there will be content. It will be pre-filmed. So if you have been watching my content like as I am putting it out, there will be some things in the next couple of videos that are definitely like a little bit out of order. For example, I have like a book haul coming out next Monday that I do talk about like a bunch of books that I've acquired through February through now, and some of them I mentioned that I haven't read yet or plan on reading in the future, and I've already read them, some of them in this vlog. So if you notice any of those discrepancies, or like I'm not as good at replying to comments, that is why. And that is really all I have for this update, so that is going to be the end of this weekly reading vlog. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave a a comment down below. I love reading your comments. Subscribe to my channel for more content from me. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!